The number 1 and number 6 seeds in the NHSA rankings collide here tonight in just southeast of Chattanooga as Grace Baptist Academy Golden Eagles collide with the Christian Community School Colts. What's set to be a great Friday night in this week's Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Welcome to everyone watching around the world. I'm Spencer Thompson alongside James Shannon. Proud to be with you from Oleota, I believe it's pronounced, or Oleota, something like that?
Ooltewah. How dare you disrespect this town of 1,000 people, Spence?
I'm thinking Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors.
Yeah, they're Oneota. Yeah. Actually, they play in Pinson.
Proud to be with you.
But we're not in Pinson. We're not in Alabama.
Where are we one more time?
In the great state of Tennessee, in the fantastic town of Ooltewah. By the way, I got reminded of something this week.
What's that?
Hello, you lovely bunch of coconuts.
That's right. Well, proud to be with you in Oda, Tennessee.
Ooltewah,
Tennessee.
Ooltewah.
Well, the Christian Community School Colts had a blowout victory against the Franklin Classical School Knights at home, taking a longer travel than they're used to in the TSI AA North. But especially with Malham being out for the season, that's a big loss for the Christian Community School Colts to worry about. Meanwhile, for Grace Baptist Academy, not really too much to worry about other than their starting center has been out. They have their freshman at the center helm, but for the Grace Baptist Academy Golden Eagles, it's very much next man up. There's not really anything that has really shown that Grace Baptist can be stopped. Now, James, we look, of course, at Christian Community. They're coming into today. They're going to be staying the night here. They actually arrived in the Chattanooga area at 1 o'clock and spent some more leisure time around the area. So had a chance to get acclimated to the environment and get used to everything. But for Christian Community and this well-structured Colts team, this is going to be a good measuring sticks for the number 6 team in the National 8-man football world.
Well, and Spence, that was a great move for them to do. It's kind of what teams had to do back in the day when you would play Swanee at Swanee up on the mountain. Because of the time zone difference, you want to go ahead and bring the guys up here. So they either got it here 1 o'clock Central Time or they got here 1 o'clock Eastern Time. But you still want to adjust your body. I mean, we're driving down here. It's 4:30 1 minute. It's 5:30 the next minute. So you've got to get acclimated. Your body loses that hour. You know, for the Colts right now, they should still be an hour away from game time. But they're not. So they've got to get it going. The loss of Malham is huge. But, hey, they still got Will Adams to step up. They've got CrossFit athlete Kalen Poulin. And they've got it going. Grace has been on a roll. Everyone didn't know how to take the win against the Bradley Knights the first game of the season. And then they roll in and kill Ezel Harding. And then they go to Bama and beat Evangel. And then they go to Murfreesboro and beat Providence. They've proven at this point they're here to stay. They're here to dominate. And they are going to be one of the powerhouses that are going to have to get knocked off if you want to get to the championship game.
And I tell you what, we talked with Coach Ateka before the game, and he mentioned it's very much a statement of they have to win week by week. It's not a matter of an accumulation on their undefeated streak so far. It's week by week by week, and he gave a lot of compliments to Coach Flanders and the well-structured team they have. But for Coach Flanders and company, you know, they're out some of their starters, but they just reload over and over, and the same can be said for the Golden Eagles. So what's it going to take for Grace Baptist to get their first victory against the TSI AA team at home?
They're going to have to play the game they've played the last 3 weeks, mistake-free football. CCS is one of the teams that can go get beat by a really good team, and then they can play the next week a bad team and just look like absolute world beaters. So it depends on who comes out here tonight. How do they do mistakes-wise, penalties, fumbles, turnovers? How do they perform in terms of that? That's going to be a big key for them. Coach Flanders looking for his 50th win of his head coaching career. Let's see if it comes tonight.
Has a few more wins on his assistant coaching, but 50th overall win potentially tonight here just southeast of Chattanooga. Grace Baptist, Christian Community, next. And here we go from the great state of Tennessee.
Spencer, we're always in the great state of Tennessee.
Not always.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. As the Colts will start out with with an onside kick, and it'll be recovered at the 48-yard line by Grace Academy. Well, for the Golden Eagles, everything has essentially gone perfectly. They had one of the toughest challenges of their very short-lived 8-man football tenure against the Evangel Christian School Lightning a few weeks back, and they still managed to win that game, but total about not even over 45 points allowed on defense through 3 to 4 opponents thus far. Trying to keep that streak continuing here on a 1st and 10. As Kennett finds an opening on the right side, and what a dime pass to Mason Long down to the 12-yard line, and the senior connection, big gain for about 30 yards.
Spence, here's what's impressive, and I know I've said it on the show. Here's what's impressive about the Grace coaching staff. They knew how to plan everything out. So when they played Bradley, a little bit of everything. They played Ezel Harding and just RPO, couple passes here or there. They rolled down to Alabama, and they aired the football out and did a fantastic job of it. Then they go play Providence, a little bit of both. So they know what they're doing, and they've proven that Long can throw it on a dime.
That run-pass option is incredibly dangerous for Grace Baptist, as we've seen through their games against Ezel Harding and against Christian Community. I'm sure it was just as dangerous against the Bradley Knights in their opening game. 8-man football as Kennett gets to the right side, and our first penalty of the game comes from the far side, and get the call in just a few moments. Looks like a block in the back. Looks like we have some equipment malfunctioning, but block in the back there, and moves it back for Grace Baptist.
Spencer, I keep saying, well, what's impressive? Grace had to go on the road. They had to play Bradley Knights here at home, and then they went on the road 3 straight weeks, and they went to Bama, they went up to Murfreesboro, and they went up to Antioch. So, I mean, it wasn't like they were hopping over to Atlanta.
They had a lot of road mileage as the catch is made by Caleb Adams, left side, and in coverage is Jake Gustafson.
Caleb Adams, the defending Week 4 Crumble Cookie Extreme Player of the Week, had a fantastic game against Providence Christian and got nominated by his coach, and everyone stepped up and voted for him. They voted for him in the tie that they had, and, it's good stuff.
So far, I believe 2 players have been voted the Crumble Cookie Extreme Player of the game from Grace Baptist. They continue that streak tonight as they toss it towards the end zone, and what a reception! One-handed catch by Mason Long.
We should have the replay on that. We should have the replay on that, Spence. Audrey, you got the replay? Maybe get the tail end of it. Oh, just the end of it. Cooper Kennett laying it up. Mason Long snagging him.
And just like that, Grace Baptist strikes early. 6-0 lead already. Chance to make it 8-0.
You on me?
The senior connection as this ball gets brought. This 2-point conversion.
That's a fumble,
no
Spence.
good. Well, fumble there. 2-point conversion still ruled no good. No chance yet for it being taken back for an extra 2 points. 6-0, Grace Baptist takes for the early lead. 9:46 left to go in the first quarter. Early strike by the Golden Eagles. And that's what Grace Baptist really likes to do. They like to score early, set the tempo, and not have to dig themselves out of a hole as we've seen through the first 4 weeks of the regular season.
Well, and to be fair, they did commit the penalty. They had to make an amazing catch for the touchdown. They didn't get the two-point conversion. So already you see that CCS is not going to be a pushover in this game.
4 weeks in, they'll try an onside kick as this goes more than the 10 yards, and it's picked up. This one, I believe, by Gustafsson, who gets it to about the 36-yard line.
And I do want to note, Spence, this is being played on a 40-yard wide field. I know you see the white paint, and it looks like a regulation. There is a blue line. We can get to my camera. You can see the pylons on the blue line there. So it's not on the original white sideline. They have a blue sideline painted on both sides. So it is on a 40-yard field tonight. Still 100 yards, though.
Still 100 yards and workarounds there with TSIAA regulation. As this carry on the right side by Will Adams, he'll get tripped up for a loss of about 3.
Well, that line's going to have to deal with guys like Bo Swanson, who was the Week 2 Fairlife Core Power Player of the Game against Ezel Harding. You know, I mean, but on the other side, CCS does have guys like Hudson Mortimer, last week's Fairlife Core Power Extreme Play of the Game. So there's a lot of guys with a lot of titles on both sides of the ball. They're going to have to just buckle down and get to business tonight.
One of many reasons why both of these teams are in the top 10 for the NHSA rankings.
Oh, absolutely.
Got a lot of stars on both sides of the ball, especially Will Adams, even though he got stopped for a few yards on that last play. And on a second down, they're going to give it to Adams again. That defensive line for the Golden Eagles not allowing anything to happen.
Well, and you saw the hesitation by Adams as he got the ball. He was waiting to see if those holes could get opened up, and that defensive front just shut it down like a garage door, and there was nowhere to go.
Not a single place to go. Makes it now a 3rd down and 12 after that 1-yard gain. Adams got a little bit back on there.
Something CCS might have to roll out, Spence, is the athleticism of their quarterback, Caden Poulin. Mentioned pregame, CrossFit athlete, younger player, but he does have potential. They might have to use him.
We'll see if they can do that, and they'll hand this off. This is a carry by Gustafsson to the left side. Not enough for the first down. Maybe forces a 4th down and 5 at about midfield.
And a great play with the misdirection. You run the same play, 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, fake, give it on a dive up the middle with the fullback, a little bit to the left. Not enough for the 1st down, but it does get you a little bit closer after losing yardage earlier, and they are going to go for it here. They know, hey, they're on the road. They've got to answer back.
Although this is not a divisional matchup, it is a contest within the conference, and for Christian Community, they've already had a measuring stick earlier in the year when they collided with the Freedom Cowboys down in Huntsville, as they'll go for it on 4th down, and the pressure is on. It's an interception. Mason Long, even in coverage there by Hudson Mortimer, it's picked off.
Well, Long was covering Mortimer, and then the roles got reversed immediately. And Mortimer had to shift, which, of course, 8-man guys playing both ways. You can adapt real quick and go into tackling mode. But he had to switch real quick because Long was, he just caught the touchdown down here. He's an offensive weapon, but on the defensive side of the ball, he can absolutely make it happen. Also wanted to mention, Spence, of course, everyone back home in the Central Time Zone watching this, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern here. And later on in the game, as the games back home start and the games in Alabama, we'll get some updates for y'all.
Get those as soon as possible, as Kinnett gets a carry for about 9 yards, maybe even enough for the 1st down. It's an impressive carry there, and, yep, they'll move the chains for a 1st down. Cooper Kinnett just getting it done.
Hey, and if Nix was not there to make that shoestring tackle, Kinnett was gone, absolutely gone.
There are a lot of times where Kinnett has been just completely out of reach on the offensive side. Tries to keep that going tonight. New set of downs, and he'll air it out to the left side to Cole Mason in coverage. Oh, my goodness.
He'll be down short of the goal line, but can we get a replay on that?
You see it right here. Pressure not a factor, but the coverage there from Asher Nix, incredible stuff.
It's the Mason factor, Spence. You've got Connett airing it up. You got Mason Long and Cole Mason that can absolutely just snag them like a fat kid grabbing McDonald's. I mean, there's no missing.
I miss the James Shannon analogies and similes.
I was the fat kid grabbing McDonald's.
As the carry up the middle, Cooper Connett, a touchdown with the QB sneak.
Spence, right there, you see an example of them being able to use both. Connett drops a dime. I mean, I'm talking an FDR dime right on the goal line. And then they could switch, use the RPO, and Connett can punch it in. It's fantastic.
Missed the two-point conversion attempt earlier. Chance to make it a 14-0 contest. Not even 5 minutes into the game. And this carry is
Parrott. No, he didn't get it.
Does not get it. CCS defense at least preventing the extra 2 points. So 12-0 with 7:04 left to go in the first quarter. Already Grace Baptist up by 2 scores. Seven to 4 left to go in the first quarter, and Golden Eagles, as they are definitely accustomed to, got an early lead as this gets booted away, as this will go down to about the 10-yard line and picked up. Left side rush there, and left side return as it gets up to about the 23-yard line.
I want to give a huge shout out to all 28 of you currently watching the game.
A lot of distance between the two teams in tonight's contest, so definitely a lot of shout out to the Christian Community families reviewing tonight. About 3.5 hours away from White House, Tennessee.
And then you lose an hour.
Here's first play from scrimmage on this drive for the CCS offense. Their third offensive drive starts out with a keeper by Caden Poulin.
Poulin is absolutely athletic, but that line is going to have to give him just a split second to at least get the football and take a step forward. They're going to have to hold. And great pressure by Grace as well.
I mentioned a lot about how impressive this Grace Baptist defense is coming into the 8-man football scene. As on the second down, they will keep Adams to only a gain of 4 yards. Brings up a 3rd down and 8.
Good solid run by that CCS offense. Will Adams getting the rock and trying to punch it in. I mean, trying to, get a little momentum. They've got to get some momentum right now.
8 yards to go.
And the Colts offense coordinated by Coach Jordan Flanders. 49-20 coming into tonight's contest. Again, looking for his 50th overall head coaching victory. Toss to the right side. The catch is made by Will Adams. And collides there. The tackle credited to Caleb Adams. Little Adams on Adams action there, and it brings up 4th down. No correlation on family relations to my knowledge, those two. But this 4th down and 7 coming up, likely the Christian Community punt team come out on their own 25-yard line.
CCS going to punt it away. I mean, it's 4th and 8, so
4th and 8 from their own 25-yard line. This will be booted away by Torrin Gilbert. The freshman gets a decent bounce to have the ball go to the 47-yard line in Grace's own territory.
Spence, you got a little bit of action going on tonight. 6 other games happening across the 8-man teams that we cover. We got some big games. Let me get them pulled up. Of course, Freedom in East Central in Alabama. Ezekiel and Lighthouse, a rematch of the championship game last year for the ACSC. And then Heat traveling to Clarksville, first 11-man game for the Heat this season.
On a 1st and 10, deep toss by Kinnett, and what a dive catch and pass, Caleb Adams for the 1st and goal. Make that a reception of close to 40 yards.
And that's a fantastic defensive job. I know it's a huge offensive play, but a great job on offense holding on to that ball, and defensively, I believe it was Gustafsson on the coverage, trying to knock that ball out as he went to the ground, trying to cause a turnover, but a great job by the receiver to hold on to the football. And they're right there.
The junior stopping the touchdown for at least one more play. And the senior tosses it to the corner of the end zone. A touchdown. Another 6 points on the board, and Caleb Adams, after the big reception, makes it 18-0.
I mean, Spence, at this point, you got to ask yourself, what do you do to stop this offense? Because Coach Flanders is over there asking that question.
Coach Thornton, the defensive coordinator for Christian Community, mentioned they were going to try some different schemes tonight and do some different strategies. Right now, his defense has allowed 18 points. Make that 20 off of the deflection. Cole Mason with great play awareness, as you'll see on the replay here.
I mean, that's just never giving up on the ball and tracking it the whole way.
First successful two-point conversion of the night for Grace Baptist puts him at 20-0. It's Grace Baptist offense firing on all cylinders. We're about 8 minutes into regulation as Bowen Cornett will get the return, gets a little bit of space to the 41-yard line. Good return by the junior.
And here's the thing for CCS, they're not getting pinned. They're not getting pinned deep in their own territory. They're starting near midfield, all these drives. It's just they can't get it going.
And not much that the Colts offense has been able to successfully accomplish. Had several 4th and outs. One of their drives ended in an interception. See if they could change that here, as Poulin will keep it. Gets a gain of about 2 yards.
At CCS, one of those offenses they run where, and they've run it for years and years and years. You go 5 across on the line of scrimmage like you have to have. Your guys on the end are uncovered. On the end of the line of scrimmage are uncovered. 2 guys off the line at kind of a wingback position like they have them right there, and then the quarterback Poulin. And they can motion the 2 guys in the backfield, or they can run the quarterback.
Gain of 3 yards credited, and a loss of 5 coming up here with the defensive play. Bo Swanson in the backfield.
Well, another thing that's helped Grace this season so far is they just haven't gotten hit by the injury bug. It hasn't affected them, and they've been able to roll with it. And as you can see with CCS, Malham's out. There's other teams, the Heat, Zion, Ezekiel. I mean, there's teams that have gotten hit by the injury bug, and it does affect you. Grace has not gotten hit by that yet, and they're able to keep rolling. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go through the season, depending on how their strength and conditioning program is. And, and some of it's really just luck of the draw. Can your guys stay healthy? Can you avoid freak accidents?
And a timeout called by Christian Community with 2:32 left to go in the first quarter. A perfect time to remind you all that the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way, and by Fairlife Core Power Protein. Work hard, recover harder. .231 left to go in the first quarter. As the Colts, right side, the catch is made by Will Adams. He's avoiding several tackles, and the ball loose, and
they ripped the ball away from him, Spence.
It was ripped away from Adams. 2 turnovers on the defensive side for the Golden Eagles. This is starting to turn into a one-sided game here outside of Chattanooga.
And that was a great play. Had a lot of momentum. CCS was going to, pick up some yardage. They were able to throw the ball and just absolutely just got devastated by the defense.
As Kinnett has got some time, a flag is thrown. The catch is incomplete, just through the hands of Caleb Adams. Let's check the flag.
Audrey, I've got the ref as well.
Yeah, it's a holding call on the offense. See if we can get those issues fixed at halftime.
Mike could have Junior take a look at it at the end of the quarter. Hi, you might have Junior look at it at the end. Check it out.
So holding call.
Grace is playing a fantastic game right now. They got to get away from these penalties.
As they face a 1st and 20. As Knet, quick pass, reception made, sticky fingers for Caleb Adams and more space. Caleb Adams, a touchdown for about 30 yards receiving. Or actually make that 50-yard receiving touchdown.
No, Spence is about a 40. First down marker's right there at the 40.
Caught it at the 50.
Okay, fair enough.
At least I think it.
But it's not counted where he caught it. It's counted from the line of scrimmage.
Well, in that case,
it was about a 55.
Yep, 55, 60-yard receiving touchdown for Caleb Adams. You know, Brendan Daniel isn't with us this week, but I have a feeling I know who he would predict as the player of the game already, as this goes to the corner of the end zone and overthrown the intended target of Cole Mason.
Listen, when you're playing the game like Cooper Knet is tonight, you get a couple mulligans, a couple overthrows on an extra point. It comes to the territory. You get it.
You got any predictions for the Fairlife player of the game yet?
Honestly, I think you got to go Cooper Knet.
You thinking already?
I don't know. That's hard. It'd be hard to make an argument. You could go Cooper Knet or you could go Cole Mason.
So this Grace Baptist defense standing strong and the offense performing incredibly well. Good shot of your brother there, James, Jerry Jr.
Look at him working hard there on the field.
As Audrey takes the shot away.
Audrey.
I think she's throwing some shade towards Jerry on that one, as that squib kick is Gustafsson, who gets up to about the 45-yard line.
I'd be interested to see the freedom kicker on this field, see how deep he can put the ball on the field.
You got a solid point with that. I'm interested to see any of the kickers around the teams we cover to see how deep
Yeah, but
they can kick on this field.
freedom so far has seemed like the best. They have the best kicker. Of all the teams I've seen this season. Now, there's a couple teams we haven't seen.
Quite a few.
I mean, okay. Now, we'll see tomorrow night. We'll see Ryan Arrington. But in terms of teams we've seen so far, Freedom's kicker, and I apologize, his name is escaping me, but he is the best kicker we've seen so far.
As CCS has a mishandled snap of the ball loose, and Grace Baptist is going to recover it. Pierce Smith, the junior, pounces on it, and just everything going wrong for the Colts tonight.
It's details, Spencer. It's details. That's what makes or breaks a game.
So now Grace Baptist already up 26-0, chance to make it a 32-point lead as the catch is made by Cole Mason. No one to tackle him. Touchdown.
Great play call, great execution on the screen. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
See it right there, outstretched hand. Make sure it gets into the goal line, even though there wasn't really any doubt. So a touchdown for the Golden Eagles. You think if they had made some of those two-point conversions earlier, they could get the clock running early. Chance to make it 34-0. As it'll be kept by Knet. And
oh, he got me.
No good, but
he got me. I thought Adams had the ball. They got me.
Flag on the backside, waiting for a call from the officials. Looks like they'll probably enforce this penalty on the kickoff. I believe an ineligible receiver downfield.
Yep.
So they'll decline that, and Christian Community.
Well, no, the penalty would have been on Grace.
Yeah.
So CCS would have accepted it.
Yeah, so the penalty declined by the Colts because of the try being unsuccessful.
Right. You want to leave it? Let sleeping dogs lie, Spence. Just leave it alone.
And that's exactly what the Golden Eagles are trying to do. They're trying to make the Colts the sleeping dogs tonight and leave them to lie going into the rest of the night. Send them back home to White House with a loss. Making a good case for it so far.
Yeah, Spence, I think you got to go. I think you got to go Cole Mason or Cooper Kennett.
We got a text from Brendan. Cooper Kennett is his prediction for player of the game, so he's watching.
We'll see.
Happy birthday to Brendan Daniel, the big 33-0.
Whatever.
You're a few years out from that, James. Come on now. As return here by Braden Thornton. Gets to the 40-yard line. But happy birthday to Brendan Daniel. He's out in Knoxville celebrating with his family. He'll be off. He's off tonight, of course, and tomorrow he'll be off. Hopefully we'll see him on Sunday, but more than likely he's taking the full weekend off for his birthday. He'll be back in next week. But, James, you and I get to call another game tomorrow night from Smyrna as the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights will get their first game in prime time. The first game featured on the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. That game kicks off at 7:30. We'll be live at 7:15 tomorrow.
Speaking of Lancaster, in a couple weeks, Lancaster-Grace looks like one of the better matchups in the South.
Could potentially be for the #1 seed, depending on how Franklin Christian does, as this carry by Will Adams. He gets tripped up for a loss of several yards. You could hear the frustration from all the way up here from Coach Flanders, the offensive coordinator for the Colts. You can see his frustration talking it over with Poulin. It's been a rough night for the Colts sideline and the Colts fan base thus far.
Well, Spence, when you give up 32 points in the first quarter, that's a pretty rough evening.
Give up 32 points, not even able to get across midfield to this point.
Well,
maybe once.
Their punt got across midfield.
You know what I meant. Oh, you're going to get some flack from the Colts fan base for that one. 2nd and 13 as Poulin looking for the pass. Gets it off to the right side, and this ball is going to be intercepted. Mason Long picking it off, and at the 45-yard line, Grace Baptist, just this defense does not have any weakness as we've seen through the night.
Well, and the throw was a jump ball, and I get why you would throw it. Put it up there, let Mortimer, let your guys try to go up for it. But, I mean, Grace might as well have been a rich person. CCS was a butler and walked up and had a ham on a silver platter and said, here you go.
And with that, in Colts territory, the Golden Eagles look to extend their lead as Kennett finds open space,
so fast.
Weaves through, gets past a lot of defenders, finally brought down in part by Hudson Mortimer. As you see the replay here, Kennett gets it inside the red zone.
Cooper Kennett, because I have children, I can make this reference. Cooper Kennett reminds me of the movie Cars. There's a character in the movie, Lightning McQueen, saying, "Speed, I am speed." That's what Cooper Kennett reminds me of. I mean, he might as well, literally before each play goes, "Speed, I am speed." Close his eyes. Just, it's ridiculous.
Leave it to James Shannon to make a
I want to
Cars
see
reference.
a race between Kennett and Poulin on the field.
Oh, goodness. Toss right side. Mason Long with the reception, cutting out several defenders, and Mason Long avoids 2 tackles to get a touchdown.
I mean, he was shucking and jiving. He was moving and grooving.
Shaking and baking for you race
Shaking
fans.
and baking. Breaking it down. Dude should have been down at the 5-yard line. Dude must have an amazing TikTok account with dances, because the dude's got moves like Jagger.
I think James's sole goal whenever he's paired up with me in a broadcast is to make me laugh. He's very successfully doing so tonight. As Caleb Adams
They
had
almost
it
got
faked
me
on the right side.
They almost got me again, Spence.
Yeah, they got me on that one. 40-0 as Kinnett gets it into the end zone. A stronghold lead for the Golden Eagles over the Colts. Start of the first, or getting close to the start of the second quarter as this is kicked off to Jake Gustafsson. Gets to the right side, avoiding a few tackles at first, and then finally the first initial wrap-up by Jacob Mock is brought down at about the 36-yard line.
Spence, I don't know that return should have gotten whistled where it did. There was still forward progress. Forward progress had not been stopped. Gustafsson was hit 5 yards behind where the line of scrimmage is going to get marked right now, and he still kept going, kept his feet moving. I don't think that play should have gotten whistled down.
Regardless of that, they'll spot it at the 38-yard line. You set it down.
Sorry about the sniffle there.
As the Colts try to get something going on offense. Will Adams pushing the scrum. He'll get it forward for about a 6-yard gain, which is close to about the average yards per carry that Will Adams has on the year, and I believe that is going to take us to the end of the first quarter. The Golden Eagles come out swinging, and the Colts have not had a response through 12 minutes. 40-0 heading into the second quarter in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Start of the second quarter as sides are flipped, and this carry is a first down by Will Adams up to exactly midfield. Spencer Tom said James Shannon Audrey Green calling the shots tonight as our executive director, and got Jerry Jr. on the sideline, our close-up camera, operated by Matthew Cruz.
Spence, you said something before that we went to break. You said that the Grace came out swinging. Grace came out with a Mike Tyson right from the floor with a little wind-up, hips engaged. It wasn't just swinging. How dare you disrespect the performance they gave in this first quarter?
It's been swing after swing after swing after swing as Gustafsson to the
There
right
you
side.
go.
Good offensive move by the Colts, and maybe that's the spark they needed as it gets to the 35-yard line in Golden Eagles territory. About their first time offensively getting across midfield.
Spence, they don't need a spark. They need a bonfire, okay? They need a little bit more than a flint and rock. They need a bonfire right now.
In the words of one of our friends of the show, I just need you to be more positive.
I'm positive they need more than just a spark.
James, it's Stephen A. Shannon, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
So you
on
make your checks out, too.
On a new set of downs, pulling over the top to Asher Nix.
Oh!
Almost in the hands of Asher Nix. Didn't look like he even reached out for it. If he had made that catch, it would
He
have been a
wasn't
touchdown.
looking. He was wide open.
Coach Flanders not going to be happy
To
with
be
that one.
fair, he did a great job of getting open. And Poulin, that throw was on point. Nick sees it and grabs it. It's 6. And at that point, we have a campfire.
They start the spark with flint
No,
and
we have a
steel.
candle. We'll go with candle. It's not a spark. It's not a blowtorch.
Will Adams hits the ball, avoids the tackle after contact, trying to avoid the second one, but finally wrapped up by several Golden Eagles defenders and a loss of almost 10.
I mean, if you're Will Adams and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 guys trying to stop, there's only so much you can do as the ball carrier.
Yeah, especially after getting that stiff arm in there. Let's make it they'll spot for forward progress with a loss of about 6. So a 3rd and 16 coming up for the Colts as Grace essentially pushing them back to their own territory. As a timeout called here by Christian Community. Their second timeout of the half. Perfect time to remind you that Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by First Horizon, all things financial, and by Crutcher's Auto Repair, trusted by Franklin, Tennessee since 1980. .33 left to go in the second quarter. The Colts started over and see what they come up with on this 3rd and 16 as they'll hand it off. This time they trust it to Mason Bernard, who gets it back to where they started. So a 4th down and 11. And the Colts offense likely in Golden Eagles territory. They'll go for it here, especially because of how far they are down. And question is, what do you do on offense here if you're Christian Community, especially with how all the different strategies just haven't worked to this point?
Right here, you got to throw the football. I mean, you can, at this point in this game, you can only take it one play at a time. And in this situation, this play, you got to throw the football. And if you don't have an option, you got to get on those CrossFit quads and go.
See what Coach Flanders worked up on this play with. This chess piece is being placed by Poulin. 4th down and 11. Looks like they got Adams out for the pass. Poulin looking. He's under pressure, scrambling, finally shovels it over to Will Adams. And Adams trying to get past the defense, finally being brought down by the jersey, but it's shoveled last second to Gustafsson, who gets a good amount of yardage back as there is a flag down. Not enough for the first down.
But let's see where the flag is, Spence. Let's see who it's on.
Likely it was on the right side. They may have called that. May have been a block in the back with the ball being motioned so much.
It could be that. It could be a face mask.
Pointing towards Grace Baptist side. Might actually be a Golden Eagles. And it's either an illegal motion or a false start, which is declined. So that penalty was thrown way earlier on, so doesn't matter.
Heck of a play, though. Spence, you know, let's stay on the trend of Pixar movies. And tonight, when CCS goes to sleep, okay, I have a feeling they will reenact the movie Monsters, Inc. That's what they're going to see in their dreams. They're going to see burgundy and gold and white jerseys and white helmets and white pants coming out of the closet of whatever hotel they're staying in.
And with motion there, they'll move it back, I believe, 5 yards.
Offside on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Seemed to get a little bit of signal there as encroachment. So lucky break for Grace Baptist for temporarily. 1st and 5. First and 5. And they'll hand it off up the middle. This carry trusted to Tyler Parrott, the senior. Had an intense collision with the defender, but managed to push all the way through. Again, the yards after contact, we've seen that plenty of times throughout the first 5 weeks of the regular season. Been very impressive to witness this, especially at the high school level. And it's going to be under 9 minutes remaining in the first half. The Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report coming up. We'll get you any scoring updates from around the teams we cover, depending on how long it takes until we get to halftime. Likely no scoring updates yet.
Spencer, those games haven't even kicked off.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet at this point. It should be in the next 13 minutes or so. We'll see if we'll get you any scores as we have them. As the time winding down here in play clock, and they get it snapped off at time. Here's a carry to the right. Tyler Parrott gets stopped with a gain of about 2 yards for a 2nd and 7. Get you our highlights and an analysis of the first half, and if there are any scoring updates, we'll cover those for you. That's all coming up on the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. About 8 minutes remain in the second quarter. The Golden Eagles continue to march, and encroachment. They got him again.
Offsides on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down. After the penalty, it's 2nd and 4 from the Colts 48-yard line.
About a 2nd and 4. Kinnett scrambles. He had the original play orchestration to carry the ball. Flag is down from the backside, from the far side. Flag down as Kinnett lost several yards on the play. Waiting for the call here. A holding call on Golden Eagles, so we'll be second down on that.
After the penalty, it'll be second down at 18 from the 38-yard line.
– 40-0 lead as the Golden Eagles face a 2nd and 20. And this carry to the right side. Give their trust again to Caleb Adams. Gets a good carry and at least a carry to the outside and only a gain of a few yards.
2-yard gain on the play brings up third down.
You know, at least at this point for the Golden Eagles, it's just trying to run down the clock as they run it down here in the southeast of Tennessee in scramble as Kennett toss finds Mason Long with the reception as Mason Long is brought down for a gain of several yards down to about the 47-yard line. Gain of 7 yards for a 4th down, and this is the first time that the Christian Community defense has actually stopped the Golden Eagles or prevented them from getting a 1st down in the first 3 plays. As the 4th down, the first punt of the evening for Grace Baptist as it goes all the way. They'll let it roll down to about the 3-yard line. Incredible punt from Kennett.
Spencer, 41 people watching with us tonight.
Proud to have you all with us here in.
Pretty awesome.
I tell you, I'm probably never going to get this pronunciation down, but Ottawa.
Close. Ottawa.
Close
Ottawa.
enough. Yep.
No, not close enough.
I'm ready for when we're calling games from Chattanooga next year once they get their field situation.
Are you from Frankline?
Yes. that's the phonetic pronunciation of
the Cherokee pronunciation.
What?
No, it's Lafayette, Tennessee. Lafayette. Okay. All right. That's true.
So from Ottawa, Tennessee, 1st and 10, a carry up the middle by the Colts is Will Adams. And gain of about 2 yards for a 2nd and 8.
Purdue. Part of the Big Ten where they're very creative with their logos. 90% of the teams, it's just a letter. Different font, different color. Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota. I mean, Penn State's kind of creative. And then you get the SEC. Now, the SEC isn't that much better. You get the G and the T and the A. You get off on a tangent there.
I mean, you got off on a tangent there as offsides for the Golden Eagles defense. He'll bring it up for about a 2nd down and 3.
Spence, I brought up that Grace Lancaster game.
That's likely could be for the #1 seed in the South.
It's next week right here.
Here in it.
Next week right here at Hunter Middle School.
Sounds like a good matchup. As that carry there is by Adams and Cole Mason with the tackle. Makes it about a 2nd down and 3 for a loss of a yard back to the line of scrimmage. About 5 minutes left to go in the first half, and it's very much been a one-sided game here.
Well, it's like you said, Spin. I mean, you called it during the first quarter. Grace likes to come out and just quick punches. Boom there, uppercut, jab, hit you with a cross.
That's the question now for Grace Baptist Academy. Will they make the travel down to Florida if their season continues the way it does?
If you're Grace, you go unbeaten and win state, you go to Florida. You have to go to Florida. First off, I know you already beat Evangel. I get that. You want to beat Evangel again.
Either Evangel again in the semis, maybe they face off against Ezekiel Academy or for the Freedom Cowboys.
Only one other coach has the feeling of beating Evangel, and that's Hunter Wilson at Ezekiel. Only one other coach other than Coach Ateka.
It's a very esteemed club of 2.
Is 2 even a club?
No. As a third down, I believe that's a safety. They'll call it short of the goal line. So it'll bring it down to a fourth down and about 14. So almost forced a safety there. So Christian Community will likely punt it away.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight punt, Spence. That punter is going to have 9 yards. I think you got to set up the return, Spence. I don't think you blitz it. I mean, it looks like they're going to blitz it, but I think you've got to set up the return. Hey. Oh, they don't have a kicker. I was going to say they could do that free kick thing. Happened a couple weeks ago with CPA and someone else.
Almost blocked the punt there, and they'll have Canet will just fall on it instead of returning it and bring it up to about 3:31 left to go in the first half. Well, I'm sure that Coach Ateka will. Sure, you won't have as much to say to his guys in the halftime meeting. Maybe just a little bit of tweaks here and there, but it's been very perfect for him.
See, Spence, broadcasting blowouts are tough, right? But blowouts happen. I actually appreciate blowouts. It's where I got 90% of my playing time.
Toss to the right. The catch is made, avoids the man. Mason Long diving for the pylon. He's ruled
We got the
just
replay?
short. They'll rule him about at the 2-yard line.
Did we get the replay?
1 yard line.
Did he get it, Spence?
Showing right now, as you see here, diving for the pylon. I think he may have gotten it there. I think he may have gotten the touchdown. One of those very close calls you have to make in real time. Looked like he was in the air and his knee did not even touch the ground.
Here's what the officials need to use, Spence. Right here.
As this first and goal attempt, carry into the end zone. Untouched is Tyler Parrott for the touchdown.
Rewind a little bit. Oh, Spence, here you go.
Showing the.
I know we can't show it on the broadcast.
But showing the replay from all of the angles on the sides. Yep.
He was in.
Yeah, he was in on the dive. Would have been a touchdown ruling on that. But at least for now, as we have apologized for the camera view there as carry up the middle.
That camera view's my bad. It's on me.
Tyler Parrott untouched into the end zone. You still caught it there. 48-0. The Golden Eagles have a really dominant lead against Christian Community. 3:19 left to go in the first half. The Golden Eagles just firing on all cylinders, and not much for the Colts offense to do as Braden Thornton gets to about the 28-yard line.
It's really come back to line play for CCS, Spence. They're not controlling the line of scrimmage on defense. They're not controlling the line of scrimmage on offense. CCS needs some hogs, some absolute just turkey eaters in the trenches. Maybe it's those uniforms. They wore those uniforms, debuted them at Freedom, got whooped. They wore them down here tonight, got whooped. Go back to your other ones. I'm going to blame the uniform, Spence.
The superstition. We know that
I'm not superstitious. I'm just
don't
a
try to
little
hit that a high note ever again. As the shovel pass to the right is Gustafsson, who gets it for. They'll likely move the chains for the first down on that. If not,
Spencer,
just 1 yard
I'm not
short.
superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Thank you, Michael Scott. As everyone who, if you haven't even watched The Office, you know that reference at this point because of all The Office people repeating it over and over.
It's a great reference, Spence.
I like the one. I like it better. The one that's sometimes in the middle of the sentence I lose my train of thought. I just hope I can find it along the way. I like that one a little bit better.
That's funny, Spence.
Not as funny as Little Stitious, apparently.
That's real funny, Spence.
1st and 10. Here's Gustafsson, left side. A flag is thrown towards the end of the run, and with that gain of about 3 yards, we'll check the flag. As the officials will discuss it a little bit here. It's a face mask called against Grace Baptist. Or excuse me, against Christian Community.
Inadvertent face mask on the offense. 5-yard penalty for the spotted foul. Still first down.
Face mask call on Christian Community there. And the games of the teams that we cover around the 8-man football world have kicked off likely. It's just 3 minutes past 7 o'clock Central. Probably no scores in those yet, but we'll start getting them as they come in, as Gustafsson gets a carry to the left side for loss of 2. I'll tell you, a lot of good games to look forward to going around the region, James.
Oh, there's a ton of them. I mean, we mentioned earlier the Ezekiel Lighthouse homeschool game, rematch of the 2020 ACSC State Championship. It has kicked off and being broadcasted live streamed, whatever you want to call it.
Same thing. Broadcast
So, tied at 0. Game just kicked off. Oh, that's right.
2nd and 15. We'll get that thought from James in a second as Poulin tosses it overthrew his intended target of Asher Nix.
When you can overthrow Asher Nix, that's an overthrow.
Looked like it was in between the hands of Asher, at least.
I forgot whenever you broadcast from the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors field, you have to all you have is an end zone shot.
Well,
We might have to pull some strings there, Spence.
We got wireless camera capabilities. Maybe we can find some either scaffolding or some hill around there, something like that. But I'm sure there's some options.
Did you say some hail?
No,
With a hick accent?
don't think so.
Listen, Spencer, I understand we're in Ooltewah.
It's either that or he's just not listening to me as he usually does. As you can tell, there's no
option C.
As you can tell, there's mutual respect between the two as Poulin gets sacked in the backfield. Bo Swanson with the sack.
Swanson is a machine that just busted into the backfield, made the play. looks like the games, like you said, Spence, are just kicking off. Some of the broadcasts that are happening tonight, or live streams, rather.
Broadcast is fine. It works.
Yeah.
But BP1 Sportsnet covering that Ezekiel Academy game. Any other live streams you got going around?
Hi, Evangel's got their own
one.
broadcast.
Yep.
Playing North River tonight, so.
And a 4th and quarter of the field for Christian Community as this gets booted away. And we'll drop down to the 46-yard line. So, of course, they can't run the clock until the second half with the mercy rule regulations, but at least for now is 48-0. Minute 28 remaining here in the second quarter. As, again, the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report coming up. Get you updates from scores. If hopefully at that point we'll at least have one score in some games. James and I will give our thoughts and analysis on the first half. As this carry, a spin move to the right side by Tyler Parrott. Gets down for a gain of 6 yards across midfield.
Calm the washing machine, Spencer. That spin cycle is mwah! I mean, that was the B button on the Xbox controller.
I tell you, the more that James gets into this parenting thing, the more dad jokes that come out, the more similes.
You like
and
my
analogies come
dadgum
out.
dad jokes?
Some of them.
Dadgummit.
2nd and 5. As this is handed off, and a flag on the far side.
Might be unnecessary roughness.
Flag on the right sideline.
Predicting
It's a holding on the offense.
Oh, I was wrong.
Hey, I mean,
But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
you made a
so
prediction. Whether it was accurate or not is a
it's
different
not the-
story, but
Hey,
you made a prediction.
Hey, it ain't the first time a prediction of mine's been wrong this year.
Yeah, let's
Just gonna say
let's
that.
not dwell on that, James. We dwelled on that a little bit too much.
Oh, the Evangel North River game does not kick off until 7:30.
Got a little bit of time.
As well as the Zion Franklin Christian game. That one does not kick off until 7:30 Eastern time as well.
Got a lot of delays around. Teams we cover, but just means that we'll give scoring updates deeper into the second half. Gives us some content as the clock will more than likely be running in the third and fourth quarter. About 25 seconds remaining here on a 3rd down and 7. As the defensive line of Christian Community gets a stop right at the line of gain. Tackle there from Hudson Mortimer and company for a likely what's going to take us to the end of the first half.
Spence, I was waiting on the extra point to see what happened. But 7.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. It's Lighthouse Homeschool 6, Ezekiel nothing.
And that's going to take us to the end of the first half here in Ottawa. 48-0, the Golden Eagles dealing the final blows on Christian Community, and the mercy rule will be running here in the second half. The Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report is coming up.
And welcome to the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Halftime Report. I'm Spencer Thompson alongside James Shannon. 48-0 the score right now at halftime. And we've covered a lot of blowouts throughout the first 5 weeks of the season, unfortunately. But it's just a testament to how incredible Grace Baptist offense is and how the defense of Christian Community just hasn't been able to adjust at this point.
They're so versatile. They're so versatile. They can run the ball with a running back. They can run the RPO. They can drop FDR dimes. However they want to score. It's literally like Coach Ateka just has a whole bunch of like pieces of paper with ways they want to score. They get the ball and he just goes,
Let's go with
RPO.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know the first couple plays were probably scripted. But after that, I mean, it's literally, you might as well put a spinning wheel on the sideline, just go, throw the ball,
Just flip it again.
Connect, find somebody, Cooper, find somebody. They're going to be wide open.
Just have Connect keep the ball. Do
Or,
some other stuff
hey,
there.
Cooper, if you don't like a
Keep
look,
it. Just keep it.
make like Lightning McQueen.
But for Christian Community, this is a struggle for them to especially come down here so early and to be able to adjust to the environment and everything. For the Colts at this point, it's now second string and third string reps in it. But what did they take from this game heading into next week?
Well, this once again, I question the state of Tennessee having 2 time zones. It baffles me. I know it's geography, but it baffles me. Listen, if you're CCS at this point, you want to get through this game injury-free and enjoy your weekend in Chattanooga. Maybe catch our broadcast tomorrow night of Lancaster East Hardy. Make the best of this weekend. Because there hasn't been a lot of best for the last hour, okay? Make sure everybody's not hurt. And I don't remember who they have next week. Oh, it's South Haven. They got the Battle of 76 next week.
Yep.
So, you know, you get ready for the Battle of 76, start prepping tomorrow morning. Take the guys to IHOP or Waffle House, let them eat their sorrows away, and then tomorrow morning you start prepping for South Haven.
Especially because that's a matchup that could essentially determine who gets into the playoffs and who doesn't for the state championship. Or at least it's close on there.
Well,
for
it's
top
not
seeding.
just that. South Haven's unbeaten.
Yep.
They've got Sacred Heart tonight. They win 5-0, and I understand they're only 1-0 in division, but South Haven's been rolling, absolutely rolling. CCS is going to have a tough task on their hands tomorrow night.
2 weeks in a row they face.
Next
the
week,
Colts have faced off again. 2 weeks in a row they'll face off against unbeaten teams, and this first stand is not the start they wanted. About 10.5 minutes left to go until the end of the first half here. 48-0. We'll be back for coverage of the second half in just a few moments.
Welcome to the start of the second half in Ottawa, Tennessee.
You got it!
48-0. The Golden Eagles lead over the Colts in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week as this ball is live, and it's a touchdown.
No, it's going to be
just
down
short.
at the 1.
Down at the 1 yard line. When you
That's a live football.
It is. When you don't touch the football like that, when it goes past 10 yards, they thought it was going to go to the end zone. That's really unfortunate.
He thought it was going end zone, maybe out of bounds. I don't know. But, yeah, kickoff's a live ball.
I'm sure that there's going to be some sprints in practice with that. But Spencer Thompson, James Shannon, our executive director Audrey Green. Down on the field is Jerry Jr. and up on the close-up shots is Matthew
See if we can get
Cruz.
a shot of Matt.
Yeah, get a quick shot of.
We've already done a
Matthew.
shot of Junior. There's Matt.
You can't really see his face because of the tenting there that Grace Baptist graciously gave to us. It's a good setup there to shield from the sun there, as it is way short of the goal line, and the Colts recovered a fumble. What a turn of events already. And all right, we've delayed it long enough. We do have some scoring updates for you from around the teams in the Southeast that we cover.
Spence, in the first quarter, it's Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors 14, Ezekiel 7. In the second quarter, South Haven just scored a touchdown, waiting on the status of the two-point conversion. I think it was no good. So it's 6-0, South Haven leading Sacred Heart. Only 6-0 in the second quarter of that game. Of course, South Haven unbeaten, Sacred Heart coming off 2 wins in a row. The other score we have is at the end of the first quarter. It's the Freedom Cowboys 14, East Central 0.
And here you can see on the scoreboard it is a running clock in Ottawa as Poulin airs it out, way overthrows his intended target of Gustafsson. And that's unfortunately been the story of the evening for the Colts offense.
Just haven't been able to make that connection. It's tough.
And we mentioned it a little bit at halftime, but the schedule, it does not get easier for Christian Community.
No, not at all.
Going forward, they host South Haven, so they don't have to travel for 3 weeks straight, but they host South Haven, they host Providence, who although they took a few losses, 2 losses to Grace Baptist and Lancaster, they're not a team to shrug off. And then they host Ezel Harding to start out October, and they conclude the regular season at Lighthouse Christian School. But for the Colts, really tough schedule with the next 5 weeks, including this week.
Spencer, FCA Zion is doing the national anthem currently. They must have missing a logo there.
Looks like they're missing the Zion logo on their scoreboard, but.
And then, of course, we are waiting momentarily Evangel and North River. That game should be starting as well. And let me check on the Tennessee Heat Clarksville Academy game. That one should have updates on max preps. Should have kicked off at 7 o'clock.
Here's right side. The pass batted at the line of scrimmage and incomplete, intended for Gustafsson. And
Spencer,
a 4th and 10 coming up.
Spencer, if anyone ever says your ears are messed up, don't listen to them. Another update, Spencer. In the first quarter, Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors have scored a touchdown, and I believe the two-point conversion is no good, so it's 22-7. Warriors lead the Knights.
For Grace Baptist, their schedule does get difficult next week as they host the Lancaster Christian Academy Knights, which that could essentially lock in the #1 seed for the Golden Eagles if they play their cards right. They host Zion Christian, a bye week. Then they're at Franklin Christian for their final divisional matchup, and then a Thursday night homecoming game against the Tennessee School for the Deaf Vikings on October 14th as the ball is punted away by Christian Community. Likely another score coming in for Grace Baptist as they look to break 50 points.
Spencer, we do have a score update for wow, it just updated again. Score update for Clarksville Academy Tennessee Heat. The Cougars lead the Heat 30-0 in the first quarter.
First 11-man game not going off at all at a start that the Tennessee Heat wanted.
Gotcha.
Handoff and brought down in the backfield. How about Will Hinkle, the sophomore, getting that tackle for loss?
Will Adams. And number 32, Will Hinkle.
So the schedules, Christian Community has arguably one of the toughest schedule stretches in the next few weeks, and we've seen in years past when Lighthouse Christian School gets game repetitions in and they start practicing, they're very dangerous, and especially under the coaching of Sean Bell. And that final game for Christian Community, it's part of the tough stretch the Colts have over the next several weeks. As this is aired out up the middle, incomplete pass intended for Passons.
Carson Cadet's pass intended for number 7, Brock Passons, sails incomplete.
As the time continues to wind down here in Ottawa.
Game may be over by 9 o'clock, well, Eastern time.
It's 8:34 right now, and beautiful football weather as well here.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
In
I love this field and this setup. Great crowd for Grace coming out. I know some of them are CCS folks that have traveled down. Some folks couldn't make the trip, and if you're watching, appreciate you.
69 degrees and clear skies here in the southeast. As this 3rd and 20 is coming up for Grace Baptist. Right side, and the catch is made by Brock Passons.
You can see some of these guys that if the starters do get hurt, they'll have to come in and play for them. So some of those guys getting playing time right now, gotta love it.
And just to go back to what you were saying earlier about this setup here at Hunter Hawks Middle School, Eves Field. This is temporary for the Golden Eagles, of course, with the tornadoes that ravaged through Chattanooga and the greater Chattanooga area. The field for the Golden Eagles is under construction right now and should be done for the 2022 season. So they have a temporary setup here as a toss, and there's a flag down, likely pass interference. And the penalties declined with a turnover on down, so the Colts will take it anyways, but probably all a little too late here in Ottawa.
Spence, I actually think that Grace has more penalties than CCS tonight.
More than likely. I'm sure Brendan will be feeling for the players that have to do some running drills or suicides in practice this week for the penalties.
I was about to say, we call them suicides. They're spent.
Sprints, suicides, laps.
Is that what y'all call it in soccer?
What? Sprints? No, they were suicides. Just
Okay.
it could be a lot of different things. But thanks to almost all 50 of you still watching with us. Now it's a one-sided game, but
let's get a. It's not a great shot. How about a shot of that band, Spence?
yeah, great band here for the Golden Eagles. They're certainly rocking out high school students.
Pretty cool environment, et cetera.
As timeout called by the Colts with 3:36 left to go in the third. .336 left to go in the third quarter as the Golden Eagles continue to have a running clock. Or at least it starts up on the whistle with the timeout by the Colts. Called their first timeout of the half. As toss to the right side is complete. And a gain of about 6 yards. You know, there are a lot of teams you do not want to face in the playoffs. And for Christian Community, sure, for one, they're thankful they're in the North Division, and for two, they're hoping they can get to that #1 seed in the North, so that they don't have to potentially travel over to Grace Baptist, because the way that would play out is if the Colts are the #2 seed and they win their playoff game, they have to travel to the #1 seed in the South, which likely, unless Lancaster or Franklin Christian pull off what would be an upset on paper at this point, then Christian Community would have to travel back down here for the semifinal.
Well, Spence, don't forget, Lancaster's unbeaten.
Exactly, yeah. It comes down to next week more than likely who's going to be that #1 seed. So it could be that CCS travels to Lancaster, or if Grace Baptist gets that number two seed, they have to travel up to whoever's the #1 seed in the North. So we'll have to see how things play out. But the playoff bracket's starting to shape up as we go into the later weeks of the season. But I tell you, Grace Baptist is not the team anyone wants to face in the TSIAA playoffs.
I don't know. Depending on how Lancaster does next week, they could say, hey, let's go. Let's get it. I believe they've played before in 11-man. I would have to check the game history. But I believe they have played before.
As this scramble, sack. Poulin could not get out of coverage. And Bo Swanson might be Bo Swanson has had a night on the defensive side. You still going with Cooper Kinnett on the player of the game?
I think you have to. I think you have to. Spence, second quarter, 8 minutes and counting remaining. Ezekiel has put a touchdown on the board. It's Lighthouse 22, Ezekiel 13. Close one in Pinson.
That game potentially for the #2 seed in the ACSC.
I don't know.
Might be.
Could be for the 1 seed.
1 or 2 seed. It's playoff implications on the line there. Again, the top 2 seeds in that conference. Again, Evangel is still up. Evangel's still up in the air on what Tim Smith and company will do going down the stretch of the season. You know, the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors stretching out as good catch there by Gustafsson. Gets a reception for a first down and a little bit more to the 49-yard line.
Biggest offensive play CCS has had all game. It's a great one. Spence in the first quarter, FCA has gotten on the board. They lead Zion 7-0.
And at midfield, the Colts trying to continue getting reps in for the second and third string players. And so the cool thing, at least for the Colts, is even with the win or loss, they are staying the night here in Chattanooga. They're going on the Ocoee River, getting some team bonding and exercises through the weekend and everything. And I've been on Ocoee a few times. It's a great river to do whitewater rafting on, as Gustafsson gets the catch, and it's a gain of about 5 yards there. But good team bonding experience with coming down to Chattanooga for the Colts.
Oh, 100%. I mean, for the Colts, this first time they've played a game in Chattanooga. So not the first time they played a game down this way, but it is the first time in a while that they've been down this way. I think maybe Swanee and might have been 2011, my senior year, was the last time they came down this far down 24.
It's been a while, and it's been a while into the night. We head into the final 12 minutes of regulation. The Colts and Eagles just trying to wrap things up here in Ottawa. "12 minutes remain here in Ottawa. 48-0 as the Colts whistle
come
blown,
on.
inadvertent
That was a
whistle there.
completed pass.
An incomplete pass there, and
No, it was a completed pass. They called him for forward progress.
ruled forward progress, and incomplete there for now a 3rd down and 6. As things just wrap up here in Southeast Tennessee. You know, for Grace Baptist, they continue the undefeated streak. You know, next week is certainly gonna be a measuring stick. I mean, they've already had a measuring stick to this point with their contest against Evangel, as there's a timeout there by the Colts. But they've already had a measuring stick with Evangel, and they went to the Big House and beat the Evangel Lightning.
The Big House.
Yeah, it's the Big House
like
8-man
that.
football.
That's clever there, Spence. I like it. The Big House.
Perfect time to remind you that the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Kingdom.com, the ministry technology provider. Crumble Cookies, enjoy to every last crumb. And by Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, services for every season. For the Golden Eagles, they'll improve to 5-0 on the year. Looking to go 6-0 when they host the Lancaster Knights next week. And what a contest that's going to be. It's too bad neither of the programs involved have broadcasts or student-led broadcasts, because
Who is that?
Lancaster and Grace Baptist, because that would be a game that we have on a second monitor up top for wherever we're going next week. I mean, it could be coming back down here. You never know. You have to tune into Extreme Talk on Sundays to find out.
Coach Ateka almost got it.
Ateka tried.
Coach Ateka ought to give that team a suicide run right now for dropping that ball. Butterfingers Ateka is what I'm going to call him.
Even the people.
How do you expect your players to catch that ball when you yourself?
I'm sure he's getting a lot of flack for that on the sideline too. You're hearing it up here. So the people are like, "Oh, come on, man!"
I lay off the grease before the game. No KFC.
Yeah, this is why I talk to the coaches in the post game.
I'll call him Butterfingers Ateka to his face.
I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Coach Ateka, one of the great coaches.
He has been fantastic to interact with.
He's 41-73 overall, including his 11-man record, 41-73 coming into this year. Now he's going to go to the with a 5-0 start. He'll go to 46-73 with this move, as it's an air out up the middle, and what a catch! Reception by Canyon Gilbert, who gets brought down at the 18-yard line.
It's a great haul in. That young man went up for the ball and snagged it.
Yeah, the senior got the reception, and the Colts in the red zone, trying to get at least a score here on the board to prevent it from being a complete shutout.
Spence, first quarter must have been an anomaly, because in the second quarter, Ben Sorto for South Haven Christian has put the ball in the end zone. They lead Sacred Heart, the Knights, 22-0.
22-0 against Sacred Heart, who has had, I believe Sacred Heart to this point has been undefeated. Either that or they took one loss.
Well, no, they lost to the Heat.
So the one loss, one loss was to the Heat. I couldn't remember on
They're
that
winless
one.
against Tennessee teams, but they are 2-1 on the season.
As that pass is intercepted by Pierce Smith.
They're going to call him out of bounds.
Looked like he may have had the reception there, but ruled incomplete. Almost.
They can see that blue line all the way over there a lot better than we can.
Actually, is there a blue line on the other side? They have it scrunched down to that. I couldn't tell if
yes,
they just. Okay.
I believe so. Let's see if we can get a shot of that. Yeah, because see the yard markers are in. You can faintly see the line.
They have a 10 yards in on both sides. Yep.
Ooh, blurry camera shot.
Look at us at this point focusing.
My bad, Audrey.
On the 40-yard width. Look at us focusing on that stuff with how this game has gone. Poulin has got a gain of 4 yards, maybe 5.
Kick a field goal here. Well, they don't have a kicker.
Who would you trust? Maybe you could trust who's CCS's punter again? It's Lee Torrin Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert is the punter. If you got a soccer kid, I still think Poulin could put it through the uprights.
Trust the freshman to get the job done.
I'm just saying.
Great environment here in Ottawa. The fans loving exactly what they see as there's a timeout not a timeout, as the Colts face a 3rd and 6 in this Grace defense trying to keep a complete shutout at home. That's what the fans like to see after that 3-game road stint. Left side, gain of a few yards, but a 4th down coming up.
Spence Ezekiel's gotten on the board. They did not get the 2-point conversion. In the second quarter, 6 minutes remaining, it's Lighthouse 22, Ezekiel 19.
Close game in Alabama. Coach Duarte versus Coach Wilson.
Actually, they played twice last year, the ACSC championship game, and then they played earlier in the year. Lighthouse beat Ezekiel. That was the only loss that Ezekiel took.
As Poulin looks for the touchdown pass, Asher Nix with the reception, and the Colts get the first score on the board.
All right, on the money. Asher Nix brought it into the breadbasket, exactly what you should do on a pass.
And the Colts at least prevented from being a complete shutout. Managed to get at least one touchdown on the road.
Spence, if they miss this extra point and Grace can get another touchdown, then we'll have 2 straight games, 54-6. Grace will have a 54-6 score.
The question is, do they even attempt to score with about 6 minutes of winding down? Probably not.
No, not at all. I don't know. They scored second half.
Got one touchdown there, as Gustafsson gets in.
Just completely messed it up.
48-8, as the Colts get one touchdown there, and things wrapping up here in Ottawa. Just under 4.5 in regulation. Golden Eagles going to exit out of their temporary home stadium 5-0 as they attempt to return. Cole Mason gets to the 32-yard line.
Great tackle by Mortimer.
Yeah, the junior has still been putting some decent plays in despite the lopsided score.
Oh, for sure. These guys have not quit playing at all.
It's a testament to the culture and the mentality of the Colts organization. Try to fight to the finish, even if they're on the receiving end of a blowout or the dealing end of a blowout.
Spent second quarter up in Clarksville. Let's do this play.
Scoring update in just a few moments as a first 10 coming up, and just to carry the right side as things wrap up here in the extreme game of the week.
Second quarter up in Clarksville. It's Clarksville Academy 45, Tennessee Heat nothing. 38 first quarter points for Clarksville Academy.
Reminder for those of you watching, we'll be live.
Correction, 51-0.
Reminder to you all, we will be live tomorrow from Smyrna. Lancaster Christian Academy will have their first game in 2021 as part of our Extreme Game of the Week. And it will be live at 7:15, kickoff at 7:30. Should be a fun contest as left side there incomplete.
Thompson's pass intended for number 7. Brock falls incomplete. It's third down.
What was a battle of the South teams in the last 2 seasons is now an interdivisional contest between Ezel Harding and Lancaster Christian. Still going to be, I'd say with the way that Ezel Harding and Lancaster played, it's going to be a fairly close contest. I mean, maybe a 2 or 3 score game in terms of who leads, but it'll be good to see Deuce Bragg in his junior year and see how Coach Bragg has adjusted without having his offensive coordinator in Sean Bell, as that catch is made on the left side of the lead by Avery Iverson. That's 39 for the Golden Eagles, who makes the catch.
Thompson's pass intended for number 88. Joel Estes falls
Joel Estes with the reception there. As look, there's a shot of Jerry Jr., our field op. Our field op there, having a lot of fun down there on the sideline.
Doing a great job.
One of the many hard workers. We would get a shot of Matthew Cruz if the roof was not blocking his face. Maybe we'll get his face there. It's also not very well lit because it's behind the spotlights. But a lot of hard work being put in by all the members of the production
That's a
team.
great tackle by the Colts.
The Colts got a good tackle there as 60 seconds remain in regulation. But great work by our production crew. As you see Matthew Cruz there, hard-working individual for us. There he is. You can see him a little bit. There's the way. There it is. He finally decides to come out from the close-up shots, getting some good work in. As wrap things up here.
Spencer, I'm going to be very disappointed. Okay, the students are doing it. We're about to test this.
No, are you about to do the jump? No, James, this is not good. I don't know if we can get a camera shot. It's a lot of fun here.
That's about all the jumping you're getting out of me. Man, I'm so fat, I don't run. If you see me running, you should start running too.
Said that multiple times on Extreme Talk.
It's very true, Spencer. It
It
has not stopped being true in the 8 years. Okay? That's just facts.
Not at this point. As I believe the final timeout called by Christian Community, so can't stop the clock anymore. And they'll start from their own, or the 40-yard line. Another high snap as Poulin picks it up, avoids the tackle, and gets to the right side with the toss-up. What a catch! Great reception by the Colts. Bowen Cornett to the end zone for a touchdown.
Are they gonna cancel the mercy rule? Spence, that touchdown just put them below the mercy rule.
Yes,
we
it
could
did.
have a 37-second comeback.
If they get some successful onside kicks here, that's a lot of things have to go right if they could make a big comeback here.
Great job by Poulin there,
Yep.
just making the play.
Cornett being open. 2-point conversion attempt. Toss in the middle, incomplete. 48-14, so that makes it a 34-point deficit. So, as James mentioned, the mercy rule not in effect here.
Your score, Grace Academy 48, CCS 14.
See if we can do another round of updates here from the awesome people that make our updates happen every single week, and we'll give them all shout-outs at the end of the year.
Got about. Can you believe we only have 2 more months until the end of the broadcasting year? In terms of the consistency.
Yes, I can.
It's a short time, but the grind of the season continues and continues as tomorrow night concludes week 5 of the 8-man football season. We're heading to week 6 as we get to about the halfway point in September.
Spence, in the first quarter, FCA has scored another touchdown. It's 14-0. FCA leads Zion.
As the Colts kick it off here, as they manage to get the clock stopped. Likely we'll see an onside kick attempt here from, I got 25 on the jersey of Will Hinkle. As they run the clock, and this is a return attempt by Mason Long, trying to weave through this defense. Can't get wrapped up, as finally gets brought down at about the 30-yard line.
That's a man who does not want any more delay in him getting his post-game awful waffle, okay?
Or his post-game protein shake, depending on who coach chooses.
Why not protein shake with your awful waffle?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm waiting on a guy to do, okay? I'm throwing out the challenge there. Chug every product sample that we bring if you're player of the game.
No, I don't know if
they're lactose free.
I mean, they're lactose free, but I don't know if you could fit all of those in one stomach without starting to get uneasy. Stomach might reject it.
If it's a big boy, we can make it happen.
All right, well, that's gonna do it here in Ottawa as the Golden Eagles get the 48-14 victory over the Christian Community School Colts. Be sure to stick around for the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game show. Thank you for watching thekingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. We'll be back for the post-game report in a few moments. But I think we got one more scoring update.
No, not another scoring update.
Okay, no more scoring updates. We'll be back in a moment.
here from the southeast area of Tennessee, 48-6. The Golden Eagles get it done against Christian Community. For Jerry Jr., for James Shannon, for Audrey
How
Green,
dare you disrespect CCS like that? It's 48-14, sir.
48-14. For James Shannon, for Jerry Jr., for Audrey Green, as well as for Brendan Daniel watching from afar, and for Matthew Cruz, I'm Spencer Thompson saying so long from the great state of Tennessee. The Golden Eagles are 5-0.
See ya!